Alright, there's an event running, so this is the perfect showcase of my staff necromancer. This is one of my personal favorites. I actually invented this to go labbing at Halloween, so I'll be revisiting it in a little bit. But the point of this character is to try and make staff necro as powerful as particularly possible, because I enjoyed staff elementalist, but it felt more like a stance character than a caster particularly. So my goal was to try and make as much damage come out of the necro staff as you possibly could, and I've been able to regularly crit 10+K with Reaper's Mark. It's kind of hilarious. Not only is it a crowd control and a fear, as well as like Defiance bar break and whatnot, it also hits like a freight train. So this build is a lot of fun. Coupled with the secondary pistol and the elixirs, allows you to dump a lot of damage very fast. We also have our Harbinger Shroud, which gives us a nice bit of mobility if we decide to go in. You also have a stun. We close the distance, we use our 5, throw them in the air. That'll be a nice break bar tool as well. Watch the projectiles slam on him, and then hop out. And then with that, we just wait for everything to come back. We can actually set traps now because we have staff, so we can put marks in their walking path, which will then allow them to recharge off CD while they're coming back. You see we hit 2 over here. I can use this to get in range. Lift everything. Oh, I got staggered on it. So now we throw all the potions at our feet here. Because with the potions, if you throw them on top of yourself, you actually get they'll deal bonuses and you get to do damage with them, which is really nice. And then we'll get all of our life force back as a result with our higher blade stacks. Dive in, and there we go. This is definitely one of my favorite setups because the pistol auto attack, this shot will actually bounce as well. So I'll show you with this here. One shot will bounce up to 4 targets, like so, which is really good for cleave. The main reason, like I said, was to use it for labbing, and that bouncing auto attack was the primary option for that. You could also use like Mesmer Staff. Thief Shortbow is a really popular option that I'll be covering as well when we get over to Halloween. But yeah, I love the fact that Necro Pistol bounces. It's one of my favorite things about this class. And then we have our second ability, which is the Weeping Shots, which will give us multiple projectiles. Those ones, I believe, pierce, but they don't bounce. And then the third one is an AoE stun. So, in scenarios like this, I like to literally run at them, pop everything, and then just gun them down. Or swap the staff, do a couple AoE marks. Now keep in mind that each mark has a specific individual use. So the 5th one, whilst it is the highest damage, like I said, it also fears. Your 2nd one will apply a bleed and then give regen to nearby allies. And then the 3rd one will apply chilled and do significant damage. And the last one will do condition transfer. So if you're getting bombed, for example, like if you're playing this in PvP, because I have ran this in PvP as well. Not so much a rendition of this, but like Axe with staff was really fun. It was Axe, Focus, I believe it was. But yeah, so if you get Condi bombed or you have confusion on yourself, like there, for example, you can use Putrid Mark, the 3rd one. That'll remove Condis off you. And then if they have boons, like you see he has protection, you hit Spinal Shivers, the best button from Guild Wars 1, makes its comeback. As what it'll do will be a burst of damage depending how many boons get removed. So if you remove 3, you can literally just delete something in the open world. It's hilarious. And then the secondary with the focus is you can just send out another projectile that does even more damage, provided it doesn't get obscured. Yeah, that's pretty significant damage. But yeah, Necro hits like an absolute truck with this setup. So the way that it works, let's go into the skill tree here and I'll give you the basic rundown. Is we're going to be running Death Magic, Spite, and Harbinger. Now, the reason Death Magic is useful is you'll see that around me, these things are going to start flying around. These are Carapace stacks. Basically, every single stack that I get is going to do something for me. In regards to this build, it's going to make it so I get bonus damage, as well as bonus like toughness overall. Now, this character is also in Berserker gear, I'm pretty sure. and I have 20,000 health anyways, because Harbinger is an absolute meme. So, you don't really have to worry about dying whatsoever, even though you're playing Necromancer and you're squishier. My Dragon Hunter that I just covered is literally thinner than this, unironically. But with Death Magic, like I said, you're going to get Carapace when you enter Shroud, and then the Carapace is the big mechanic that's going to matter here. There's a condition when you enter Shroud, and a few seconds while you remain in Shroud. Gain Carapace when removing condies from yourself, and then like I said, you're going to remove condies with the Staff 4, that you're going to be just mashing. Like say for example, you're just mashing your face on the staff, you're just going to passively be triggering Death's Carapace, which is great. Which makes this build really beginner friendly. And then we have Soul Comprehension, which will make it so that kills grant Carapace whenever you enter Shroud. You also gain Life Force per stack of Carapace, which obviously will have a bunch of stacks ticking constantly if we're killing things in the open world and chaining mobs back to back to back to back to back. Then you'll take reduced condition damage while at a specific Carapace threshold, and then inflicting a condition on foe will also grant Carapace. And like I said, we're inflicting bleed, chilled, poison, flipping condies onto enemies, and then fearing on this. So literally everything will be granting the Carapace, which will then grant power and condition damage via deadly strength. But then we combo that with a Bloodlust Sigil on the staff, which will give us 10 power each time you kill a foe. Technically, you could also, if you wanted to go like turbo damage, go Celestial, and then go stars, like Sigil of Stars, to get plus the stats. So then you get Condi damage, health, all that. You get like 30k health, and you'd never have to worry about anything ever. That would be hilarious. But I have Berserker gear on right now, so. But yeah, then moving down to Spite, we're gonna make it so Reaper Shroud 1 grants Might, which is just a nice added bonus. Deal increased strike damage to foes with no boons. Of course, we can rip boons with the Spinal Shivers here. And then we'll deal increased damage and inflict vulnerability when you hit someone below 50% HP. Might will grant more power and less condition damage, which is really nice since we're doing a power pistol and a power staff build. Most people will also play the pistol condition damage, so this should shake that up a little bit. We're then also going to gain Might when we hit a target below 50%. And we'll deal increased damage to targets lower in HP. So normally we'll lead with Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3, and then we'll blow them up with the Reaper's Mark, which gives you the 10k crit near at the end there. Then we come down to the Harbinger, and we're going to have deal increased strike damage for each stack of Blight you have. Now with this, you're going to want to mostly sit at maximum Blight, because when you dump these on yourself, you're going to get Blight capped pretty quickly. And then if you're also dropping them on top of yourself and a target, you will Blight stack pretty fast. You get 15 there. And then if you throw it, you go down to 5, which is not too particularly bad. That will do a bunch of conditions on everything, which will give you a bunch of Carapace stacks. There's 21 stacks there. So generally, like I said, I'll throw them at the floor or on top of myself. These two are good to throw on top of yourself, because this one is Swiftness and Quickness, as well as Blight on self. But then this one will give you 10 Might, as well as Fury on self, if it consumes. So we consume, and then it'll give us our 10 Might. As well as our Fury, which gives us our crit chance, which tops us off at like 70%, 74%, which allows us to blow everything up. And yes, critical strikes deal increased damage to targets with Torment. Well, guess what? The pistol is constantly tormenting. Each bullet will bounce around and inflict it for you. And then you have heal for each second, heal each second for each stack of Blight you have. We're constantly generating Blight by doing AoE damage with the elixirs, which this is AoE damage on this set, AoE damage over here. This will just passively improve your power, and then we're constantly going to be degenning health from pretty much everything around us. Dark Gunslinger will give us a better recharge on our pistol skills. And then from there, we're going to get Life Force when you enter Harbinger Shroud, and Cascading Corruption, which will make it so while you're in Harbinger Shroud, you'll gain an aura that will pulse each interval to cripple. And with applying cripple, it will then give you Carapace stacks, since obviously you're inflicting a condition on things. So you're keeping your Carapace stacks up whilst in your Harbinger Shroud. And then, of course, we just get raw flat power over top of this. Now, in this case, I'm running Might Duration with Strength Runes. You can run Scholar if you want, just to have more damage. You could run... oh god, there's so many things you could do. You could do Vulnerability Duration. You could do... oh god, I'm trying to think. I think Scholar would probably be one of the best options. You could do Movement Speed as well, if you wanted to do, like, Traveler Runes. But, I mean, you could use Cavalier Sigil instead, I guess. Speaking of Relic, well, Relic over Sigil, really. The Relic of the Afflicted will make it so that you create a Death Nova at a target's location. Upon defeat, this will inflict poison and bleeding. Now, I was using this in the lab, So you can use Relic of Speed as well if you're labbing, because this will make it so when you have swiftness, you'll be running 66% faster. This is a requirement in pretty much all lab runs, because the squad just wants to move that much quicker. You're going to get left behind if you are not running this thing. However, with the Relic of Afflicted, this will make it so when something dies, it does a massive AoE. Now, this is a 10-second cooldown, but it will also apply a big pulse of conditions just by passively killing things with the staff. And like I said, if you can say it with me, the pulse of conditions applies Carapace, which gives you your power, which allows you to use Mark of Blood on a singular target or maybe 2 targets, and then it'll apply a bunch of Condies. Let's just pull 2 River Drakes. Pull that one. Pull this one. Let's group them up. And let's see what happens, just for curiosity's sake. So we'll use our 1 stack, use our 2nd stack, and there's 22 Carapace stacks just off the pop. And my guy has a bunch of bleed. So, like I said, each one of those is going to be power. There's might as well. If I decide to dump the flasks, that'll be even more might. Coupled with when he pops, I'll get even more Carapace. So yeah, that is the Staff Pistol Harbinger. This is one of my absolute favorite characters. Like I said, going to be revisiting it for Halloween. But she is amazing. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this build. Do let me know if there's any other classes you want to see some coverage on, and I'll probably make something on those. Take care, fellas.